Has been a communication studies professor here at SEC for 5 years. Her special areas of interest in the communications field include interpersonal communication, business communication, conflict management, intercultural communication, and small group communication as well. Amy has also been a business and communication consultant, working with businesses to resolve communication problems. Her educational background includes a bachelor's degree in organizational communication from Eastern Washington University, a master's in communication and leadership studies from Gonzaga University, and doctoral studies in leadership from Gonzaga University as well. You can really learn the most about the impact Amy has as a teacher here, though, by hearing how her students describe her. My favorite is best teacher ever, but in addition to that, the common consensus is that she is truly inspirational and is highly respected by her students because she is truly invested in and cares very much about the success of her students. We are very lucky to have her here as a teacher and as this morning's speaker. The topic is positivity and gratitude can change your home life. 10 tips to start using today. Please give Amy a warm welcome.
Oh, hi. You can hear me now. Thanks, Mel. My name is Amy Farrell. As you just heard, I'm very excited. Hi. I'm very excited to see so many familiar faces, and I appreciate you guys coming. This is an area that is something that I grew up in an environment where gratitude and positive attitude were kind of just what we knew, if that makes sense. And I realize that's not common knowledge for everybody growing up, but it has greatly impacted my life, and I feel my success as well. And I'm trying to pass that along to my kids. And so I'm just going to share with you a few things that I've learned and some of the things that I do at home for myself as well as my family to help us to keep that positive attitude and the gratitude as being a central focus for our lives. Before I start, I just want to say how grateful I am, to be here, and not just speaking to you today, but just this job itself. I love my job, and I never viewed myself as being somebody that would be like a day-to-day job kind of person. And then I started teaching, and I was like, I get it. And it has nothing to do with what I do, but it has everything to do with who you are. Coming to class every day and seeing people who are working their rear ends off to be there, seeing people that are open-hearted and open to concepts that maybe aren't familiar to them or even comfortable to them, trying things that they never would have thought that they would try. And just seeing lives changed, and it makes it completely worth it to get up every day and spend time with you guys. So I just want to let you know from my standpoint, I'm very grateful, and one of the things I'm grateful for is for you guys. So a couple of things that, obviously you've seen lots of quotes around, so this is going to be potentially more information, but some of the things that I think about positive attitude and gratitude. When you focus on problems, you'll have more problems, but when you focus on possibilities, you'll have more opportunities. So a lot of this is mindset, and I think that it can get kind of confusing when we think about it's all about our minds and how we talk to ourselves and how we think, but the reality is that the way that we think impacts our actions. And so if we are focusing and making that choice, because it really is a choice, if you caught other workshops, you're faced with this decision, here's my life circumstance, I can A, take this positive road from it and learn from it, or B, I can be bitter and resentful and hate life. And either way, it's going to infuse, your attitude's going to infuse not only in your own life, but in the lives of people around you. So when you're looking at this quote, you're seeing that a lot of it is just perspective. And that's something that we can do. You know, the circumstance doesn't change, but our perspective impacts the outcome. There's a equation that I like to use. It's called E plus R equals O. So E is the event, R is the reaction, and O is the outcome. And I'm not a math person, and in all honesty, my son tried to teach me about function, whatever, notation yesterday, and I was equally as confused as I was back when I learned it. But this equation makes sense to me because it's really real life. So it's whatever circumstances that you're in, they're going to be those circumstances regardless. But when you feel like helpless, like, well, I can't change anything. But the reality is that your reaction to those circumstances changes the outcome in a positive way or a negative way. So we do have some power, even though it feels hopeless and helpless at times. Gratitude depends on your perspective and will always allow a person to see what is good or even great about their situation instead of focusing on the negative. And in all honesty, this is difficult to do. There are circumstances that are tricky. I, about 5 years ago, got hit by a car while I was running. And so I have chronic pain every day in my neck, and I'm actually due to have surgery shortly. I could be very, very frustrated by that life circumstance, and I could let it define me. And I could say, look, now I can't play with my kids the same. I was training for a half marathon at the time. You wouldn't necessarily know that now, but back then I was pretty fast. But I could be totally stuck at that moment and be like, okay, well now I'm in pain forever. So, and my pain will never go away. I mean, temporarily I get procedures and surgeries done, but nerves grow back and pain comes back and then you start all over. So I have a choice. So I have this circumstance that's tough. It's not my favorite. I don't like being so close to being roadkill, but you know, if anyone could pull it off, it would totally be me. I have learned through that circumstance to have so much more compassion and understanding for people that have chronic pain, for people that have migraines, for people that have, health conditions that limit their ability to participate in life in the way that they normally would, or the way that they want to. I have so much more empathy because I'm going through that circumstance daily. And so I choose to focus on the blessing that comes from that, as opposed to focusing on, the hard things that came from it. And I'm trying to model that choice to my children who say, Mom, you can't play the same as you used to, which is so true. I wish that I could wrestle around and be a karate master, because in my mind I think I'm probably fairly fantastic at it. But the reality is that it's just not the life for me now, and so I have to talk to them through that and say, yeah, you know what, I can't do karate like I really would like to, although I'm sure you could still beat me up. But what I can do is I can play with you in this way, or I can help somebody else that is in a similar circumstance that I am in, or I can say, well, here's 5 things we can do together. And Candyland is a family favorite, and it doesn't require any sort of physical movement. So, you adapt and you're flexible and you focus on, well, what can we do as opposed to what can't we do? So I've got some tips for you. Not all may apply to you or be of interest to you, but hopefully you can take 1 or 2 away that would help you to start putting some of this into practice. So the first tip is to thank people in your life for doing something kind or good. And this sounds simple, and it is. Not everybody does it, and not everybody necessarily understands the benefits that come from it. If you caught Grace Leaf's workshop at the 8:30 hour, she talked a little bit about this, but a firm believer in thanking people for what they're doing, and not necessarily, I mean, you don't always have time to have it be super sincere and genuine and thought out, but trying to as often as you can. I get thank you notes from students and I save them all. I have them stapled to the wall in my office. And there are days where it's hard to do this job, and there are days where you feel discouraged and you've been up all night grading and you're tired, and then you have somebody that stops and says, you know what you do means something to me. And on those days where I struggle, as everyone does, I look on that wall and I say, here's somebody who wrote a note saying that I'm the reason they get up in the morning is to come to my class. And that it changes perspective. It makes me feel, alive and rejuvenated, and it's like, okay, this is totally worth it. And the joy that I get out of helping people, it comes back in ways that you just never would have expected. And so it really is nice. I want to show you an example of thank you notes. My parents took my son to his first Seahawks game, and he wrote this to them without even my prompting, which was the most amazing part, I thought. Parents give you that, you should write a thank you note. He did it all on his own, so I want to read to you what it says if you can't read his 13-year-old handwriting. Dear Nana and Papa, thank you for our wonderful time in Seattle. It was a blast. I'm so blessed to have you in my life. Not only have you spoiled me, but you guys have inspired me to be a hard worker in and out of school. Thank you for being so supportive throughout my life. Without you guys, I would not be the person and student I am today. You both mean the world to me. I appreciate and love you both so much. Your grandson, Jacob. So, this is one slide in a PowerPoint, but it shows the person that is my son. He's just a grateful individual, and I learned from him, even in how he wrote this, because he could have just left it at thanks for Seattle, I had a fun time. But he went into more than that because they mean something to him. And I find myself being maybe more humble than I probably should be. So it's kind of hard for me to note that my influences played a piece in this, but I want you to know, even if I won't accept it myself, that your influence plays a piece in your family's lives. That if you can model for them positive attitude and gratitude, that they will grow up being grateful people, which is totally contagious and will positively impact all the people around them. So it starts with you, and it has this ripple effect and ends up changing lives, in ways that you never thought possible. So that's one example of one of the things that I encourage, obviously for gifts and stuff like that, that's, maybe more of a standard thing, but going above and beyond. We moved into a new neighborhood recently, and I made an effort to thank people, wrote thank you notes for people that had been welcoming to us. And they didn't have to be, and they didn't have to go out of their way to come and introduce themselves, but it was meaningful for me, and I wanted to show them, how that made me feel. And it's sparked friendships in ways that I didn't know would happen. So positive things can come from that. Now, tip number 2, focus on the positive things that happen in your day. Even as I was listening right before Grace's talk, or might have been Linda's talk about, there were some students behind me talking about their class and their day, and you could see the difference in the people that were focused on the positive things and the people that weren't. If you have people in your life that are consumed by their circumstances, and it's easy to get consumed by your circumstances, you can be a positive light on them and focus on the positive things that they might forget are the blessings in their life. Like, oh, you're having a hard time with your class, but look how great it is that you get to come to school, because not everybody gets that opportunity. We do at the table, every night when we have dinner, we do our highlights of our day. So everybody goes around and says what their highlight was. And it takes, I don't know, less than 5 minutes, but it sparks conversations, and it's a mentality of, let's find something in our day that was positive. And we don't do a low light because that does us no good to think about what went wrong during our day. But focusing on what went right, even if it's the little things, even if it's, you know, maybe one of my kids, my oldest is 17, so she's in high school and has an amazing amount of homework, but she might not be grateful for the homework, but she's grateful for the opportunity to be in school. And so she can focus on that in that highlight moment and say, you know, I have a lot of homework, but I know this is gonna get me to where I need to be. And so it makes it worth it. So just retraining the way that we think about things impacts not only how you feel, but how others feel around you. And we want to be positive people for those in our lives. Model a positive attitude, it is contagious. So a lot of this is just making those choices, being somebody that finds the positive aspects of life. I love when we ran into somebody at the cafeteria the other day, and we asked how her day was going. She says, I'm making this a great day. And I was like, genius, hello, that's amazing. I'm making it a great day. Nobody's gonna stop me, you know? I mean, it's a choice. So making that choice, keeping that mindset, and I would guess that at the end of the day, she had a great day because she made it happen. And not only that, but she impressed upon other people that she interacted with the fact that you could do that. And I went home and told people about that. You know, it happens in the strangest places. Went through a grocery line the other day and asked the checkout person how their day was, and they said, I'm blessed beyond measure. And I thought, wow, it would be so easy to be like, I'm great, I'm good. But this person went above that and said, you know what? I don't even deserve all the good things that are happening in my life, but I still have them, and I'm grateful. And, you know, and I took that and I was like, that's how I want to be. I want to be somebody that can focus on the positive things and not only have that change my life, but the lives of people that are around me and students' lives, because I'm here every day. So I want to show you a clip if I can get the link here. There is, and you may have seen it, a young kid that has done some YouTube videos that are fairly entertaining. But one of the things that I realized is I don't know how to avoid an ad. So
or their family, get an auto insurance quote and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
I think we all need a pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, you're my team. This is not people. You got air coming through your nose. You got hockey. That means it's time to do something. A poem, 2 roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. And it hurt, man! Rocks, thorns, and glass, and bullets broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost. But was there no more too fast? I'll give you one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing, unless you dream a secret. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it is. Get a better dream and keep going. Keep going, and keep going. What Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he did quit. No, he retired. Yeah, that's he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. I do know this. Everybody's youth that gives the world a reason to dance. So get to it. You just put a pep talk. Create something that will make the world awesome. Play ball.
So you can see that even somebody who is struggling in their own circumstances can have a positive impact for other people, and that his attitude is contagious. And the videos have spread, he's made other ones, and just to see that smile and that laugh and the little dancing, and knowing that behind all of that, I saw an interview with him, and he had a cast on his arm that he had just broken some bones in his wrist, I think, and but he was so focused on helping other people that he wasn't dwelling on his own circumstances and how his life is difficult. He wanted to make other people's lives better. So I thought that was amazing. Tip number 4, show others the things that you are thankful for. And to me, I make that a family activity. I don't know if any of you have heard of Pinterest, but it's like the most amazing thing ever. And there are lots of very crafty ideas, and those for not so crafty people too. But one being having a chalkboard somewhere in your house and writing things that you're grateful for, or writing things that you love about the people in your life. My family just discovered the chalkboard pen, which are pretty fantastic. And so we have this board that has some scripture verses and, some little love notes, and I love my mom. My mom's the best. And stuff like that is so little and it takes so little time, but every time I walk by that, I smile. So I'm heading out the door already smiling because I'm the best mom in the whole world. I have a trophy. Some things you just have to accept as true. You've seen probably these in other kid activities where you're focusing at Thanksgiving time, but I say that you could extend this out to be all year long and encourage that. Things that you're thankful for, and even in a simple craft of focusing on family. They put electronics on here, which I thought was kind of cute, and bacon, because, what would the world be without bacon? Sorry if you hand out those flyers for the vegan, because I just totally crushed that. Another thing that we've done at our house is a thankful tree. So you're taking branches, that you find in the fall, and we use little cutouts of scrapbook paper, but you could use anything, and write down things that you're thankful for, and you hang them on the tree. And it's amazing the stuff that people will come up with. So the idea is that everybody every day will write something and hang it up there. And people tend to do it, like through November, because that tends to be the thankful time. But I think that there's ways that you could do this to extend it throughout the year. And people get specific and people can be general, thankful for freedom. And my daughter wrote thankful for her veterans. Apparently they're hers. But the fact that she's thinking like that is headed in the right direction. Because it could be, I'm thankful for my American Girl doll, I'm thankful, you know what I mean? And that's great to be thankful for those things, but taking it beyond what do I have in like the physical sense and extending that out. So that's another idea of something that you might be able to do at home. Tip number 5, reframe events. Find the silver lining. This is a choice. Again, this is focusing on the positive, but looking for the blessings and the important learnings that come from every circumstance, even when they're difficult. So this is an example that I found as being a definition of silver lining. By searching for any positive effects of any difficulty or confusing circumstance, we can begin to feel more inner peace in response to the situation. So you might note in here that it's, you have these confusing circumstances, these difficulties, but by searching. So this is the verb, this is the action that you have to do. You have to search for the positive effect in those circumstances. And I would say if you can't find it, find someone around you that can. And surround yourself with positive people where you can say, all right, I'm struggling in this class that I'm taking, and it feels like there's no way I'm gonna pass it, and I don't know what to do. And having somebody in your life can say, well, let's find somebody that you can learn from and get to know and have them support you and help you through this. A mentor or a tutor or whatever the case may be, utilizing the resources of the people around you, but having somebody point that out and saying, look, you could find somebody to help you through this. So it's like they're finding these little glimmers of hope, and hopefully that will be enough to light your way until the end of the trial that you're in. One example was, I was so distraught that the cyclone had ripped apart our house and destroyed everything I owned that I became morose and helpless, unable to do anything. But I noticed that the entire neighborhood were all helping each other, talking to each other cheerfully, sympathetically, showing kindnesses and support in a way they never had before. And I began to recognize that there was a silver lining even in the disaster. So you see this in natural disasters that we have around the country. 9/11, there was so much negative things, and we could focus on that, but there were people who were able to see the positive things that came from it, of communities coming together and rebuilding of a city that had gone through so much, and all the people that had volunteered to help. And so even though you had this disaster that had happened, there are sparks of positive things that you can find even in the midst of those. So it's important to keep your eyes open for the possibilities of great things. Tip number 6, serving. Do something for someone else. I don't know if you've ever done service learning projects in any of your classes. But I want to tell you about a small group communication class that I'm going to be teaching next quarter. And one of the things that we do is a community service project throughout the course of the quarter. Obviously, multiple reasons for choosing to do that. We have to do group work because it's a small group class, which makes sense. One of the reasons that we do service learning projects is because it helps people get outside themselves. And when you're in tough circumstances and you can get outside of yourself and your own circumstances and see that other people are struggling, see that, there are homeless people in Spokane, there are people who don't have enough food, there are kids with no coats. Seeing the need out there and working to fill that need gives you positive feelings and gratitude for what you have. I remember distinctly in high school doing a mission trip. We went to Tijuana, Mexico to build houses for homeless people. And I remember coming home and being disgusted with how much stuff that I had. Because here are people living in chicken coops, and their house is cardboard. And coming home and having running water and having too many clothes to even fit in my closet, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. I'm sure my parents probably freaked out. But it was just the realization that I had more than I needed, and there were people that didn't have enough. And I think if everybody could get into that mindset, our world would be completely different. Because there are so many with an overabundance and so many who have nothing. And I don't think the world was designed to be like that. I think that we were designed to help and serve other people. So benefits of taking a class like that is you're learning how to work in groups, which is great, but you're partaking in something that is meaningful. And not only is it helping other people, but it's helping yourself. It's making you feel better, more positive, more grateful. It looks good on resumes and job applications that you are a well-rounded individual. And so there are lots of benefits that come from something like that. And there are a lot of opportunities out in the community. We're doing a fundraiser for Poetry Slam for Speak Out, which is the Poetry Slam is helping Stevens Elementary School students, it's one of the poorest schools in Spokane. They get to come and do one field trip a year, and they get to come to SCC and learn about poetry. So we're doing a fundraiser for that. Speak Out's helping with the SCC food drive. There are ways to get involved in your community and really make an impact, and that helps us to be more positive. So if you're interested in service learning, you might check out that small group class. I'm happy to talk to you more about that if you're interested. But we've done some great things, and people have really gotten a lot out of it. So community service, helping your family. Obviously you can start things right at your own home of helping people. And for some reason, my seven-year-old has decided that she loves to do laundry, and I'm completely all for it. I might have some random socks that are miscolored, but in the grand scheme of things, I could focus on the miscolored sock, or I could focus on the fact that I didn't have to do 10 loads of laundry. So helping a family is huge. People, everyone needs help. Donating unused items. My children are very blessed. They have more than they need, and we probably monthly go through and get things to donate that we don't need anymore. And whether it's clothes that have been outgrown that someone else can use, but getting them in that habit of someone else needs this more than I do. That's how I want them to grow up. My daughter got a karaoke machine for Christmas. Maybe not the best choice on Mom's part, but she said one day, "Mom, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna stand on the street and I'm gonna sing for money, and then I'm gonna donate it to charity." And I thought, yes. No one came and gave money to her, but she's still convinced she should be on The Voice. I don't know, she's got a future somewhere. She's like, "Mom, you have to say that." I totally do. Whatever. Another tip is to infuse positivity and gratitude in everyday life. Might be books, movies, or music. One of the things that we can, at home, control is what are the things that we're letting our families watch and listen to and read. I am guilty of not always paying as close of attention as I could to that stuff, and I have to make a conscious choice to have good choices available, and books that are positive books that are talking about positive things. I found myself reading the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, and afterwards I was like, boy, what a bummer. This book's a downer for what I'm trying to do here. And it's true, you have terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days, and that's real life, but I could be making a choice, of something that might be more positive. So this is a Dr. Seuss book. I don't know if you've seen it. Did I ever tell you how lucky you are? So maybe that's a better choice of infusing something positive. So this is a little quote from it. "When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, When you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, muchly, much, much more unlucky than you. And it's a fun way to infuse a message which is saying, look how lucky you are. There are people that have it worse than you do. And if we can start that mentality, when they're growing up, then maybe they don't get to be teenagers and be so entitled and think that they deserve everything that they want, that they'll just be grateful for what they have. And that would be refreshing. I don't know about you, but that would be a pleasant surprise. Another tip is to keep track of the blessings in your life. Linda spoke about, and Grace also spoke about gratitude journals. This is a way of writing down some of the things that it kind of keeps you focused on the positive. This might be something that you do without writing it down. I do a blog where I post some of the things that I'm grateful for, even if it's just conversation. But those kinds of things are important to keep in mind. So I was going to share with you some things to focus on for if you ever choose to do a journal of some sort. Go for depth over breadth. Elaborating in detail about a particular thing for which you're grateful carries more benefits than a superficial list of many things. So in the beginning, when I was like making myself be grateful, and there are times where you have to do that, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to list 10 things I'm grateful for, well, I'm grateful for water, and I'm grateful for, the toilet, and I can come up with 10 things easy. But if I picked one thing and really focused on why I'm grateful for that and went into more detail, it might be more meaningful for me. Something to keep in mind. Get personal. Focusing on people to whom you are grateful has more of an impact than focusing on things for which you are grateful. So, and I'd say even go beyond that. If you're thinking about people in your life that you're grateful for, go tell them. You have no idea how that might make their day, their week, their year, of being like, you know what? You have impacted me, and I'm so grateful for that. That might be all that it takes to get up the next day. You just don't know. Try subtraction, not just addition. Thinking about things, what your life would be like without something, as opposed to tallying up all the good things. So I absolutely love my car, and it works, and I am so grateful for a working car because I see people that have unreliable vehicles and how stressful that is for them, and I can't imagine trying to take care of 3 kids. I'm a single mom, and if I didn't have a car that worked. So if I think, sure, I could say, yeah, I'm grateful for my car, but if I really think about what my life would look like without a car, I probably would be in better shape, but I don't know how I would do it, honestly. My kids are at 3 different schools, and they all get over it like within a half an hour period. I don't know how I would do it. So even just taking 5 minutes and thinking, oh my gosh, what would my life be like without this? And focusing on how blessed I am that it's working right now. And it might not work forever. It's a Toyota, I hope it runs forever until the wheels fall off. But I'll be grateful until the day that it stops working, and then I'll be grateful that I have 2 legs that work when I have to walk to work. Find the nearest carpool. Savor surprises. Try to record events that were unexpected or surprising, as these tend to elicit stronger levels of gratitude. Things that were unexpected, they stick out to us. They're meaningful, and sometimes they're easily forgotten because we weren't expecting it, but it doesn't negate the value of it. So, when somebody comes up and listens when you're having a bad day, and they take the time, even though they have other things that they could be doing, that's a surprise to me, and I really savor that, because somebody is making a sacrifice, and that's how I view it, of their time and energy for me, which is a gift. Some journal prompts, ideas. Instead of making a wish list, make a wish granted list. Things that you always hoped for that have happened, things that you wanted and you received. I think about all of the years of education that I had, and then the day I finally got the job that I wanted. So, sure, I have papers to grade, and sure, I have work to do, but how much did I want that, and then I finally got it, and how grateful I am that I have that opportunity. Maybe write down what is a proud moment in your life and why. Like I said, I'm a fairly humble person, so I have a hard time doing this, but I need to do a better job at encouraging myself and focusing on what I've done and things that I'm proud of, and modeling that for my kids, because they tend to, act after I do. When I'm giving them praise, they're like, "Oh, shush, Mom," and I'm like, "That sounds familiar." What is a hard lesson in your life, and what did it teach you? So again, this is retraining yourself to reframe events, trying to get yourself in the mindset of looking for the positive things. And when is a time that you made a positive impact on someone's life? And how did that make you feel? And I think that when we see how our positive impacts on other people's lives make us feel, it's more about, it's not so much about what did we do for them, but what did we get from that? And then we want that feeling again. You feel good helping someone else, what do you want to do? Go help more people. Well, that makes good sense to me. Let's do that. 10 tips. Tip number 9, teach the value of a little hard work. This is not an idea that has gone over as well in my house as some of the others, but it's a constant choice to, I didn't come on this planet to be your best friend, I came here to be your mother, and I'm not always going to be popular, but here's a list of chores that I have for you. But trust me, it's going to build character. I try to make them fancy, and I found the little note cards, and I laminated them, and I hole punched them, and it didn't make it any easier. But I do, instead of just saying I need this done, I try to talk about the why, and I try to talk about how does that help the family. And I don't know that they get that yet, but hopefully down the road, they can look back and say, oh, well, I learned these skills of how to do this, as well as I'm contributing to the success of a family. And I think that they have a pretty good idea how much work Mom does, and by the gratitude that I show them for them helping me and showing them how much that makes me feel loved, it encourages them to help more, and hopefully it'll be long-term lessons. I don't know if the laundry thing's going to stick for very long, but I'm just running with it right now. Some ideas. I love the little things that people say. They're looking at a full fridge and saying, there's no food in the house. And the reality is there's no food that's ready to eat. So let's make a meal together. Let's use this as a learning opportunity. Let's make a game out of it. We're MasterChef fans at our house, and so I am subjected to scrambled egg competitions and blind taste tests. And, some worked out better than others, but we're being proactive about a problem that we're facing, and that's part of the lesson. Or looking at a pile of dirty clothes, I have nothing to wear. Well, let's teach you how to wash your own clothes, giving you some independence. You're helping me. I can list all these benefits of why it's an important thing to do. But it's reframing. You're taking that negative outlook of there's nothing to eat and saying, let's look and see how many things there are to eat. And in changing that mindset. It may take a little bit of extra work, but we have lots of options here. I saw this on Pinterest, of course. I don't know if you've seen this, but I thought it was stinking hilarious. Okay, so it says, congratulations, you got grounded. To get ungrounded, you must earn 500 points. So they have a list of things that you could do to earn points that your kids might not be super excited about doing, but there's lessons that come from that. So some of the examples, write a nice letter to someone in the family, 10 points. You know, the benefits that it's more than 10 points. You're bonding with people. You know, I can sell that. Write a nice letter to a neighbor. Who as a neighbor gets nice letters from neighbors? My neighbors do. What about you guys? Help a relative with homework. Prepare and cook dinner. 1 load of laundry. You know, so it's a list of things that you can do, and you can make your own list of things that you think would be best for them. Donate an item. You know, whatever it is that you think your family needs to work on. Using that as an opportunity. Okay, you messed up, you made a mistake, you did something, you're grounded. Now what? Now what can we learn from it? And so I thought this was a creative way to have them work their way out of it, because that's real life, you know, and infuse some of those positive characteristics. Another tip that I have, tip number 10, is to do some research on other parts of the world. So I don't know if you see in this, the larger child is my daughter from Ethiopia. Her name is Sahin. This is a picture of her in the orphanage, and she's got little children around her that she was helping to care for. I didn't realize what positivity and gratitude looked like until I met her and saw it in life form. To see somebody in such terrible circumstances, such horrific conditions, and for her to be so, so grateful for everything that she had. I brought her a suitcase full of clothes, you know, and name brand stuff that I was like, she's gonna be so stoked about this, and she gave them all away. And she said, there's people that need them more than I do. And I thought, that's what love looks like in action. That's stepping outside of yourself and being grateful that you have one outfit. You now have a home, you know, in the United States, and you have a future, and some of these people don't. So I want to give them the things that I have now. And so you can take that outside to little things. When we went to Ethiopia, we stayed in went to eat in a home, and they don't have running water and they don't have a toilet. So, boy, I've never been so grateful for a toilet. You know, and you think of your life, even if you went back to your journal and did a journal entry on what would my life look like without a toilet, you know, you find gratefulness in the smallest of things. But food. She would drink water before bed because she was hungry, and that's the only way she could fall asleep. So focusing on, you know, even if you, as a project for your family of, let's look at the circumstances that other people live in, and you could take it close to home. Growing up, we would go to Crosswalk and serve food, and, you know, there's missions here and shelters, and you can see people that are struggling. But you can do research, you know, and help raise awareness about what everyone else is going through, and hopefully that can help us to be a little bit more grateful for what we have and the blessings in our own life. So hopefully you learned something new today. If nothing else, I sure appreciate you spending the time here with me, and encourage you to take some of these tips, try them out, see if it makes a difference in your life, and hope you have a great rest of your day.